Hi, I'm James Baxter, and today I'm going to talk to you about walks. So, walks in animation can be pretty complicated. They can also be pretty simple, and everything in between. They can reveal a lot about who a character is and also how they're put together. So, today I'm actually going to animate a few different walks for you just to kind of show some different approaches to how to do walks. And I think maybe some of the points I'm going to make might be better illustrated using CG, but I'm at home right now and I don't have those kind of resources, so I'm just going to draw everything and hope it works out okay. So let's get going. So today I'm going to animate three different kind of walks primarily today. As you can see, I'm working in TV Paint. First, I'm going to start out with sort of a mid-range, I guess what you might call a Milty walk, and if you don't know what that means, I'll explain it in a minute. Then I'm going to do a cartoony walk or a couple of cartoony walks, and then I'm going to animate a realistic walk, or at least attempt to. And then lastly, I'm just going to go over a couple of other little things and some notes at the end. And the really great thing about this is I'm going to speed it all up so you don't have to actually sit there for hours and hours and hours watching me animate something. So here's a drawing of a little girl, and before I go over it, let me explain to you what a Milty walk is, named after Milt Kahl. And Milt Kahl is this guy right here, one of Disney's 9 old men, animated stuff like this, and he's amazing. And he's known for doing kind of like these a lot of walks later in his career that have a lot of energy and a lot of bounce to them. So we're going to do that kind of thing. This little pose of a girl, which I'm going to go over, really kind of displays a lot of the things that go into a walk like this. It's a kind of standard walk, but it has a lot of the elements in it that you can use and adapt to different kind of walks. I'm going to start with what we call a contact position. That is really the position where the one foot is landing and the other foot is taking off. And you'll notice that she's a little bit further forward than she is back. She's a little bit further towards the front foot than she is towards the back foot, as her heel is coming down and striking the ground. It's a nice position because it reveals sort of the maximum twist that you get on the body, with the hips twisted one way and the shoulders twisted the other way. It has nice sort of straight legs, and it reveals the length of the stride, like how far between footprints you are across the ground. And then, depending on the kind of walk this is, it reveals a fair amount about the character of the walk and the character of the person. So I'm kind of imagining her as like confidently striding out with her boots on to go, I don't know, dig up something in the yard. So you can see I've sort of tilted her head over, and I've also tilted her head up. This is because, as you will see later, we're going to add a bit of sort of overlap, bouncy overlap to her head. So in a sort of standard walk like this, we're dealing with four basic kind of phases. I'll sketch them out. So one would be this one, which is contact. One foot strikes the ground and the other foot is just about to leave the ground. After that, you would have what you would call the down position, where the weight is sort of really being where the body is sort of impacting the ground and the limb takes the weight and the body reaches its maximum sort of down, a sort of squash position, if you will. Then after down, you would get what we call a passing position, which, as the name suggests, is when the legs and the arms pass each other as they swing through. Passing position is sort of like a equal or very close equal height to the contact position, at least in this kind of walk. And then lastly, before the character works its way back into contact position on this one step, you get the up position. It's the furthest up that the body ever gets to, and it's as the limbs are unfolding to get into contact position. So with those 4 phases, we are going to construct this walk. So if I'm going to do the other contact position to work between, I'm really just going to create a mirror image of this one drawing. So I'm going to try and do exactly what you would see from the other side if you were going to draw this pose. So it's this kind of same silhouette, which I'm going to go over. And so instead of the left shoulder being forward, instead of the right shoulder being forward, the left shoulder is forward, and instead of the left foot being forward, it's now the right foot being forward. I make a few little adjustments for perspective, but it's mostly the same drawing, just flipped. A mirror image of the same pose. Now, if I was going to do this walk sort of across the layout, and this is certainly the way you would do it nearly always in CG, I would put this pose back here, and then I would work between them, sort of doing the ups and downs of the down and passing and up positions as it moves through space. But for all of these walks in this talk, I'm going to do the characters kind of like they're walking on a treadmill. They're going to be animating in place. So I'm going to get these strides to be 12 frames apart on these drawings, so that every one of these phases is about 3 frames apart. So she's going to take a step every 12 frames. So let's have a crack at doing the passing position next. It's the one that's very similar in height. So I'm really kind of doing a head which is kind of the same height here, but instead of tilted up, I'm going to tilt it down. And all will be revealed exactly why I'm doing that in a little while. Just so you know, the settings that I have on right now have the previous drawing in green and the next drawing showing in purple. But it's a transition between the 2 extremes of twist that I have on the that I have on the contact positions. So the body is actually not twisted in this position at all. The foot I have to get nice and accurately in between the 2 footprints, because the treadmill or the ground is animating at a pretty constant rate. The knee is coming through first with the foot dragging behind it. And then the arms are also swinging through, passing each other. So I'm going to take a best guess at kind of a crack at where the arm is. And I'm straightening out the arm here on this particular walk to give it a nice sort of a swing, a nice opening out of the joint as it swings through. So next comes the down position. I'm going to again want to put the footprint nice in between, because all of these positions are about equal in time. I'm opening out the limbs as they start to swing, sort of opening them out kind of like an umbrella. See her bent arms in the contact position kind of open out straighter. And then the body is down, the knee gets bent as it kind of takes the weight, and the foot in the back is, toe might just still be contacting the ground as it lifts off there. There's no weight on the back foot though. And then, yeah, obviously, as I said, the limbs are opening out there. I'm going to cheat a little bit all the way through this lecture by making any drawing challenges easier for me by repositioning drawings. So it makes them easier to draw consistently. But I'm picking the angle of the head pretty carefully. So you'll see with things like heads that I'm doing on this walk that even though her body has reached the low point, her head has still got to do this kind of bounce. So as her body reaches that low point, her head is starting to come down and will then bounce like that as the body comes up. So I'm picking the angle of this head, how much it's nodded, how much it's bent like this, very carefully on this drawing, because I'm thinking about the other drawings that are going to be in between, so that I get that nice transition from as the body comes down, the head is tilted up, and then it reaches the bottom, and then the head is just kind of starting to come down, and then starting to come up again Well, the body's starting to come up as the head nods down like that. So I'm trying to construct this drawing pretty carefully, thinking about the other in-betweens that are going to be in there. So as you can see, if I flip this, you can see her walking, kind of doing this little bit of a phase of the walk. Let's go on to the up position. It's not as far away from the contact position as the down is. It's just a little bit like a bouncing ball. So there's a big down and a little up. Again, the foot is halfway between when it's on the ground, and then the other leg is sort of unfolding. So the knee actually gets out further in front before it kind of snaps back into that contact position, and then the leg unfolds. The arms, I'm actually going to do this thing, and you know what? Let me adjust the swing through one. I'm actually going to do this thing where the arm kind of gets turned over, so I can lead with the elbow. Dick Williams often describes this in his book as sort of breaking the elbow. I don't really think it's breaking it. It's kind of turning the joint over, so that the hand kind of gets turned in and the elbow can lead, and it gives the walk a really nice sort of swaggery, flexible look. So I'm leading with the elbow, getting the elbow up high. Again, I'm going to reposition these heads as the head comes up and starts to arc over into this into the contact drawing again as the head is arced up. All right, so to do the other side of things, the reverse, I'm going to do pretty much the same as I did for the contact drawing, where I'm going to kind of like trace over and flip each of these four phases into the sort of mirror image version of themselves. Using exactly the same considerations I did making the first step, I'm going to make the second step. So we will have 2 whole steps with drawings 3 frames apart. And if I run through them there, you can kind of get the sense of what this walk is going to feel like. This kind of nice, you know, energetic, bouncy walk that she's doing. There's a lot of twist going on. There's a lot of ups and downs and follow through going on. So it's got a lot of the different elements that you might want to put into a walk in different degrees. It shows off a lot of different things, this kind of walk. Okay, so now I'm going to in-between all this thing so we can get a nice flowing version of the whole thing. But as I do in between it, I want to make sure that you know that not all of these drawings are actually just mechanical in-betweens, just like things going sort of mechanically between each pose. They have a lot of consideration about things speeding up, things slowing down, things arcing around. So you can see, for example, that these hands are sort of arcing around. They're not just moving between these poses, they are describing an arc as they go over the top. Some of these things are to make it flow, some of them to make it snappy. This foot, you can see the toe is already slapped down onto the floor on the very next frame that we're on here. And the other foot, the toe is still on the ground as it's sort of peeling off, and the heel is describing an arc as it comes around. The body itself on these drawings is sort of usually favoring the ups and the downs, so you get this sort of nice cushion at the bottom and you get this cushion at the top to make the movement, not too sharp, but sharp enough to create the bounce. You'll see I've been very careful with how her knee is bending, how her toes again are coming off of the ground. You can see that these are not just in-betweens, they are drawings that have to fit into the motion. So obviously the body itself, for the most part, is doing a slightly more mechanical in-between. It's all the arms, legs, knees, feet, and also quite a bit of the head is doing things which you would not really classify as an in-between in a mechanical sense. Of course, in CG, a lot of these kinds of considerations are, taken care of when you are setting keys and using motion curves to offset things. But in hand drawn like this, you have to draw. If you want it there, you got to draw it there. So in a hand drawn, you don't really have those tools at your disposal. So you have to really kind of be inventive and craft exactly where you want all the different parts of the body to be on every frame, if you need it to be somewhere special on every frame. You can see the heel getting ready to swing through. Actually, there'll be a drawing just before this where it's just a little bit higher, just after it picks off in the back. The heel comes up before it swings through. You can see the hand, bent backwards there as it's swinging through. I'm kind of roughing in where I want the nose and ear to be, because it's actually more extreme on this in between, just after the down position, than it is on the down position itself, or even on the passing position. So I'm kind of roughing in where I want that nose and that ear to be. Then I'm using that as a guide to help me construct that head once I've got these heads close together. So this drawing just before the passing position is the one where her head is actually the most nodded forward, the most tilted forward. It's just a couple of frames after the down. It'll give it a nice sort of snap to that head bobbing motion. So again, the feet definitely a bit more, especially the one that's on the ground, sort of mechanically working its way through its even spacing. But all the other elements of the body are doing sort of really rather special things to make the action flow. I'm actually going to adjust the foot on this up position. I don't think it's quite far enough forward. So I'm doing that. And then the question is just going through, creating all of the in-betweens so that all the parts of the body make sense. And they all follow the proper paths of action. The arm swings through and then it kind of swings back towards the body. Do a little bit of a figure eight as it comes into the very top position where the hand is at the very top. Elbow going first, then the elbow starts to drop, and then the hand gets to the very top. So now you can see I've got one full step completely in between, and then by the magic of video, I'm going to do all the other in-betweens. And there she is. That's her walk. Nice and bouncy. That is a pretty standard Milty walk. A lot of energy in the arms, a lot of energy in the head, a lot of squish in the knees, the feet picking up and swinging through, and then planting. You can follow different parts of her body all the way around, and they should all make sense. Let's just play it one more time. All right, time for some cartoons. Okay, so doing a cartoony walk, you've got a lot more options. There's so many different things you can do, and there's very few rules which you can really break. But there are some sort of approaches which you can have in common with other kinds of walks. So, for example, I'm going to do like a contact position for this guy. But for all of these cartoony walks I'm going to do, I'm going to not do anything special with the upper body. The upper body is going to be the same for each step. So instead of like changing the whole drawing, I'm only going to change the legs. And he's going to do the same thing with his upper body on every step, unlike the Milty walk and not how you would do it in real life. So this is going to be a basic cartoony walk. I'm not doing any of that overlappy stuff on the head. I'm really just tracing the head from the other drawing, putting a little bit of squash into his body and a little bit of a bounce into his arms as I do this down position. So the down position, it's very much kind of like his, the more elaborate walk in its position of the feet, but it's a lot simpler in terms of the rest of the body. Again, I'm going to do the up position. I'm going to drag the arms down a little bit, drag the collar down a little bit, drag the ears down a little bit. So there's going to be a little bit of overlap going on in those arms, collar, tail, ears, but nothing else. Then it's just a matter of repositioning the feet accurately along the floor. So then I'm going to fill in these drawings as he is working his way to the top. Putting a little bit of a squash on his body there as he comes in and takes the impact. So then going to copy the drawings over to the going to copy the upper bodies and heads to for the other step, and really just redo the legs. So you can see I've kept the foot kind of nice and high. This is sort of a simple cartoony walk where the foot just lifts off, goes over in an arc, and comes down and plants. This is different than what we just did with the more elaborate walk, which is a little bit more like what happens in real life, where the foot picks up high in the back and then swings through and then drops down and plants. So the path that the foot takes is a little bit more elaborate and a little bit more realistic in this kind of walk. So you can see the heel lifts up high in the back and then swings through and then plants. But this guy is a lot simpler. Of course, I get away with I get a lot of liveliness for free out of doing hand drawings here, with the line being as lively as it is. If you were going to do something in, say, Harmony, you might need to tweak more stuff to keep it alive. Otherwise it might look a bit mechanical. So that's what it looks like when you have the downs and the ups in the same relationship to the contact position as you would in a normal walk. But with cartoony walks you can kind of do anything. So what happens if we switch it up? What happens if right after the contact position you go up instead of down? So what happens is it kind of turns into kind of a strut, and because it kind of turns into kind of a strut, I gave him a different expression and some different arms to justify that attitude. But you can see as he comes down and does the contact, his body then goes up after that, and then he comes down before the contact. So the ups and downs are pretty much shifted. But, it still works. It's still a walk. It's still a walk. And it has a completely different attitude. We haven't really addressed going forward and backwards very much. What happens if we do that? What happens if we put a lot of forward and back into a walk? It starts to turn into either kind of like a duck or like a sneak, which is what this is. So a sneak is, has a lot of forward and back to it. And the trick to doing a really good one is to make sure that the feet go through the air pretty quickly and then spend a lot of frames just trying to gently touch the ground, because the object of a sneaking is obviously to be quiet. So you want to have those feet come in and then really gently touch the ground as the weight is all the way back there. The same kinds of things apply here technically as far as spacing goes, good accelerations, good arcs, good overlap. So that's a sneak. Let's experiment with some other kinds of footwork. These feet don't pick up off the ground at all. So they are just kind of sliding across the ground. I put an attitude on this one which, made sense to me for doing such crazy feet. So having a lot of overlap on the head. Again, back to that traditional pattern of the down position coming right after the contact. I'm exaggerating the tendency that you see in some walks where it takes longer for you to go up and a shorter time to drop. Here's some really crazy feet. So this is the kind of thing that you might do on like a goofy walk or something where the feet actually kind of turn backwards and the legs kind of turn out and flip over and just make really fun, interesting arcs through the air as they come in. I gave them an attitude which seemed to kind of fit that. But these are just illustrations of just the myriad of different things you can do with walks. There are just endless different things you can do with walks. And then, of course, you don't even have to, you can be even more limited than that. You can just do one drawing and have moving legs. It's all a matter of what tone you're going for and what is the style of the piece that you're doing. Okay, so, well, that was fun. Let's do something really realistic. It's good to know the real stuff so that if you have to do anything realistic, you understand it. You might have to work on something, in visual effects or something, which really requires this kind of knowledge. So let's do a really realistic walk. So obviously it's going to help to, at least when you're drawing it like me, to have some kind of basic knowledge of anatomy. So I'm just going to draw, before I do any walking at all, I'm actually just going to draw the figure to make sure I kind of get my proportions right and the anatomy, if simplified, reasonably correct. I want to make sure that her limbs are at the correct angle. I want to make sure that I can see her hip bones because I'm going to be doing a lot of work with the hips. So I'm actually going to sort of highlight where her trochanter is, the part of the femur which sticks out from your pelvis. It's pretty close to the surface. So I'm going to highlight that in this walk so you can actually see what's happening. So doing a first contact position, it's the same kind of principle. I'm going to follow the same kind of principles as I did for the Milty walk. So doing a contact position, it's going to be slightly lower than just standing. And the feet are going to be fairly close together. I'm going to not put them as close together as they could be. I mean, real people sometimes walk just like on either side of quite a narrow line. I just want to show something with this walk, so I'm going to space them a tiny bit further apart than that. And then I'm going to drop her about the length of her nose. I mean, not very much. When real people walk, they don't go up and down too much at all. And so the arm swing is going to be pretty minimal here. So it's contact position, so there is the maximum amount of twist going on in the body. So the chest is twisted one way and the hips are twisted the other way. But the interesting thing about more realistic walks is that this contact position is a lot closer to what you would call a down position. They're almost the same thing. After the foot contacts the ground, there's really only like a couple of frames at most of the body continuing down before it starts to rise again. They're not spaced far apart. So I'm almost going to treat this as a contact position, but also as a down position. And I'm going to use some of the in-betweens to dictate the subtlety of that. So like I said, the arms are pretty minimal. They're doing the opposite of what the legs do. And to do the opposite contact position to work between, this time for the front view, I'm actually going to flop it. I'm going to do a mirror image of it and reposition it just to make sure it's exactly symmetrical. And then for the profile view, I'm going to do the same as I did on the other walk, which is basically just kind of trace over it and reverse the drawing. So this time we've got left arm back. Now you see the hips when they contact the ground. The hip with the contact leg is lower than the supporting leg. So in this drawing, her right leg, that hip is higher than her left. The hip drops as it's about to take the weight, and then as it takes the weight, the hip tilts the other way. Okay, so for this, I'm going to do this walk on like 14 frames for each step. So let's now do an up position. So I've got my contact / down position. Now I'm going to do an up position. I'm going to make it a little closer in time to the next contact, so that she spends a little bit longer, a frame or so longer, rising than she does falling. And this up is also going to show you how much side to side there is. So the up position is going to coincide pretty much with how much side to side there is going on with her body. The body rocks from side to side to get itself over the foot that is taking the weight. So in this step, the right foot, her right foot, on screen left, is taking the weight, so she rocks a little bit to her right to do that. Now her hips rock over even more than her chest and her head. And this actually happens more in women than it does in men. I used to think that was just a function of the way that women are built. They have wider hips in general compared to their shoulders. But actually it's also an interesting adaptation. If you drop your hips and shift them to the side, if you drop the hip of the free leg, it's actually a more efficient way to walk. It keeps your center of balance from going up and down too much. And so it's a very efficient way to walk with much less shock going on to the joints, and it's very useful if you need to carry something, like if you're pregnant, for example. So that's kind of cool. Women can walk a lot more efficiently than men. So now I'm working on the drawing where she's after the contact / down. She's starting to rise up, and this is where the switch of the hips really happens. The movement of the pelvis kind of goes in this sort of pretzel kind of movement where it swings up one way over a crest to the side and then swings down the other way over a crest like that. So I am all at once arcing her entire body over to her right, and also as it rises. From the side, and I'm exaggerating this in this drawing, the hips actually kind of do a little bit of a circle. They kind of scoop under as they come forward, and then they arc over as they come back, but it's very, very minimal. I exaggerated it. So you can see the hip dropping as the other leg takes the weight. The free leg, the hip drops in here. The hands start to come back, but it's a pendulum spacing, so those hands are very much crammed towards the contact position. The head is sort of arcing around, so it's starting to come up, but it's also continuing forward. When the foot actually contacts the ground and the hips are twisting and rotating, they actually spend a beat continuing forward like that. So now I've got my ups and downs and my contact positions, now I've got my contact position and my up position working, and a breakdown in between. So you can start to see the pattern of the walk take shape. There's this side-to-side motion, and you can see the tilt of the hips as the leg takes the weight and the free leg drops. You know what? I don't think I like this arm. I think it's not quite in the right spot. I seem to be doing a lot of that today, adjusting arms. So I'm going to just adjust where this is in its swing, so we can get a nice spacing of her arms swinging back and forth. Very, very minimal flexing of the elbow when she drops. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a breakdown for her on the way down. I am favoring this up position and give her a little bit of a bouncing ball feeling, a little bit of a soft bouncing ball. Again, just like the milk caul walk, the knees are coming through first and the limb is unfolding behind it. There's a lift up to the foot and a swing through and a plant. This is now the walk on fours and threes. I just want to show you something. For the folks that are working in CG, I'm going to draw out the kind of the curves that you would see for the different axes of motion. So here you can see I've drawn out on the left side the translations. So TY going up and down, and then TX going side to side, and translate in Z going forward back. And then on the right, I've got the rotation. So the orbit is like how much you're twisting the hips. And then obliquity, which is what they like to call it in gait analysis, but often we call it side motion when the hips are tilting from side to side. And then lastly, tilt, or how you might describe the hips as bending forward and back. So if we have a look at the up and down motion, the translation in Y, you can see that she goes up and down for every step. So here's the up position, but she takes a little bit longer to get to the up and a little bit shorter amount of time to get to the down. You can see I've got that contact position, and then right after it, you can just see a tiny bit of down right after it. If we look at side to side, she does this once for the entire stride for 2 steps, so it oscillates more slowly. So you can see that she reaches her peak of side motion as she reaches the top, as she's going over each foot. And then forward back is very, very minimal. I think I might have exaggerated a little bit on this walk, but going forward and back, again, it happens on every step. When she is, it's a little bit offset from the up and down motion, which causes this little kind of circle to happen. So rotation, orbit. So this is the axis where the hips are actually twisting around. The hips are going to be twisting, 10 degrees, something like that. Not very much. And again, you can see like right after the contact position, the hips still remain in that rotation before they kind of start to come back. There's that moment in there. And in reality, that moment sometimes has a little kick in it, where the ricochet of the impact of the foot gives a little kick to the orbit of the hips. So from side to side, this kind of motion, this rocking motion side to side, this is kind of complicated. So what happens is you get this big change which happens right away, right after contact. It settles down a bit. Then you get another big change as the other foot comes down. So that was a little bit more of a complicated curve in real life. You can obviously simplify these things if you want to, depending on how realistically you want this to be. And then the tilting of the hips, again, this is super duper subtle, just a degree or two in real life, almost doesn't happen at all, the tilt. The oblique motion, again, not more than 10 degrees, more like 5 to 10, that kind of range. So hopefully that helps give you some kind of idea of what's going on with the hips, which are really kind of the most interesting part of what's happening here as far as the different kind of ranges of motion. All right, so I'm going to in between this thing, and to do that, I'm going to follow the same kind of rules as I was doing for the other walks, where I'm really concentrating on spacing, making sure that I am favoring the right things, arcing the right things, and making sure that I do that cushion where right after the contact she still remains down, or she goes down for one more frame before she starts to come up. You can see the foot here lifting up, getting super close to the ground as it swings through, really close, almost touching the ground as it swings through, and then planting on the ground. So let's see what this looks like. So I've given her a little bit more side to side than possibly she might do. She looks a little bit, she looks determined. And I wanted to do that just because I wanted to show that really happening, that side to side motion. But that's pretty much how real walks tend to work. And again, there's lots of variation depending on who's walking. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is just go over a couple of notes about some other things that you might encounter when doing some walks. So one of the things that you might find is that if you have a very wide character, you're going to have to do a lot more side-to-side motion to make it look good. Because the character is so wide, their foot placement is going to be so wide, and they need to get over those feet as they're doing their walk in order to stay in balance. So you can see on this walk that there's a lot of side-to-side motion because this character is very wide. So obviously narrow characters don't do that as often, but also the faster they go, the less this is an issue. So as the character goes faster, they don't have to go side to side so much because they're going to get caught by their next leg before they're going to fall over. So they don't actually have to stay so much off balance. Another interesting thing to note is that the angle of the foot on the ground makes a difference, especially when you're turning corners. So we tend to anticipate where we're going to go next with our foot placement. So that if you're going in a circle, I'm going to draw this from above so you can see the foot placement as well as from the side here of this little ball kind of walking in a circle. What tends to happen is that you place your feet in preparation for making the turn. So if the character was just walking straight like that, you would place your feet straight or maybe turn them out a little bit. But since the character is turning, you place your foot in preparation for that turn. You point the foot in the direction that you want to go. And really what you do is you create a footprint which is going to accommodate the first time it touches the ground and the last time it touches the ground. So there can be a little bit of twisting that goes on between steps, but you can see how the character is sort of placing his feet in preparation for the turn. Places that foot out, twists that foot in, places the next foot turned out, and then places the last foot again turned in preparation for this turn. Now, you can twist a little bit on your feet when you're walking, especially on the balls of your feet. As the heel lifts off the ground, there can be some twisting that happens. So as the heel comes off, you can, even when there's weight on it, twist a little bit on the ball of your feet when you're turning. There's other ways to turn your feet, obviously with your heel on the ground, but this is way less common. It happens a little bit during weight shifts, and it's a lot more subtle than I'm drawing here, where the foot doesn't come off the ground very much at all. But most of the time, you want to try and get the feet to accommodate the moment when it touches and the moment when it leaves throughout that window of time. Okay, that's about it. There's lots of other things you could talk about with walks, lots of little detailed stuff, but those are the basics. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again next time.